Welcome back to the weekly news roundup. These are recorded live Fridays, 9 p.m. Eastern Standard Time if you would like to catch the show live. But today we're going to talk about a few things. First, we have a couple of updates. First, the IRS, after they announced, hey, everyone's going to have an ID.me account, and that guy over there, was it Kaspersky? Whatever security, was it Krebs on security? I think he's like, well, this is one of those companies everybody is going to have to use, so let's just go ahead and all use our accounts. No. And so after everybody started looking into it and found a whole lot of crazy stuff, and after a lot of public backlash and pretty much every privacy group jumping on top of it, the IRS has backed off and is no longer requiring you to use ID.me. They're going to work on some other forms of security. Here's a thought, IRS. Why don't you use 2FA tokens? There's a thought. They're good. They're secure hardware tokens. You can even issue those to everybody, and it would be a whole lot better to issue everybody their own 2FA security tokens than crack pipes. So, I'm telling you, if you can fund crack pipes, you can fund 2FA tokens. If you don't know what I'm talking about, yeah, that was part of a recent bill. Of course, Jen Psaki says, no, we're not doing that. We never did. Well, it was actually in the legislation. And pictures of the kits actually had a crack pipe in it. So maybe the IRS should look at 2FA tokens instead. So there was a little bug on iOS 15.4 that you're asked to help improve Siri. And if you're like, no, because that requires filming you, basically recording your audio requests to Siri and sending this out to people to actually have them listen to what you're saying. If you turn that off, it was still collecting data and sending it out anyway. Whoops. Allegedly, it was just a bug, nothing nefarious, but you never know with Apple anymore. You guys, I found this out today. You know that Apple, if no matter what your job is at Apple, if you leave the company for any reason, they change your entire position to simply associate, which is a huge, huge problem for anybody seeking to leave and go to another job. But anyway, Apple did say that this was a problem. They fixed it. It was actually 15.2, excuse me. They have the correction down there, but they haven't fixed the title up there. So it's 15.2. And so if you had that set up, make sure that you are disabling that anyway, because yeah, you don't need Apple collecting all of your data. Meta threatens to shut down Facebook and Instagram in the EU, and everyone on the EU just cheered and said, good. It boiled down to part of the data collection laws. Meta stores all of its data on United States servers, and the EU law would prevent people, because of the Cloud Acts and the way United States runs like a digital wild, wild west. You're not allowed to store customer data on international servers in the EU. And so they said, well, if you don't fix it, we're going to shut down. And they said, shut down. Then they came back, well, okay, we won't shut down. We'll do something else. So there is an update to this. I just still love this article from Frostbites because it's just so apt. We're going to threaten to shut down. Good. We don't need you anyway, Mark. Shut your crap down, shut down the whole Meta, dissolve everything, burn server rooms, and the whole world would actually be in a lot better place if everyone stops messing around with all this Facebook and Instagram garbage. In fact, the comments are very nice. Some are like, explaining it a little bit more, blah, 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 blah. This guy, please, for the love of God, shut it down already. Close it down. We'll be better after all. Yeah, no chance it's going to happen. It's just posturing, blah, blah, blah. Please do so. Such beautiful news. Bye. Lots of here's and there's. I'd trust Facebook over any government having my info. That's a sad statement on policy. Watching the world burn and empty threats. Yeah, there you go. But anyway, good to have some Frostbites in the news here. Amazon expands the telehealth program nationwide. And so we talked about this when it first rolled out to employees and then to Washington State, and now it's several different places. I can't remember if it's rolling out everywhere. It says up here 20 additional cities. Basically, you can call in and have Amazon do all of your diagnostics and stuff with all of the Amazon discount doctors. And if you really want, you can schedule a live one where an actual nurse shows up to your house. Well, that's not too bad of a deal. having a traveling nurse. That was back in the day, the doctor would come to your house rather than you going to their office. And I think that we would probably be better off having more doctors that do that type of thing these days. Going back to that old model would be great. I mean, I want to have a doctor who's well competent, knows what he's doing, and has the freedom to do what he thinks is best in medicine, not like the bureaucratic stuff today where if you do what you think you need to do in medicine, you could possibly lose your license because, you're following the science and stuff. But the powers that be aren't. That being said, though, this is you utilizing Amazon services and basically giving carte blanche to Amazon to have absolutely everything about your health. And that means this is a really bad thing. So nobody should be doing this. This is really stupid. But in more health news, it turns out that a variety of health sites, let ads track visitors without telling them. This is falling against some compliance. And based on what you're going to and seeing at these sites, it's very possible that these companies can track down actual health sites because they can see the other sites you visited and sites like them. If you're jumping all over WebMD and every other place online looking up what that crazy weird rash is, yeah, they kind of know what it is. And this was actually a Duke University study. What they did is they looked at all of the data trackers for all of the different companies out there and found a whole lot of information you could backtrack. So there were 5 companies. Let's see, 2 of the 5 companies were targeted ads that were consistent with their privacy policies. So Citizen and Invita actually had the information about the ad tracking in their privacy policies, and the other 3 measured did not. There is a list of companies down at the bottom, so if you're using any of these companies. Color Genomics, Myriad Genetics, Invite, Health Union, and Citizen. You can see they had the specific trackers being used. Google Optimize, they have if tracker. I can't read the text from here without going in like this. And then you can see that what they were checking, did their language reflect this in the privacy policies, the type of information they could find. So yeah, it was very interesting that these individual companies could go back and backtrack and put back together the people, the information about you. So I have no idea why I think I got my titles mixed up. That's the wrong title. Sorry, guys. But anyway, what's going on here is it's very easy to backtrack and figure out information about the people visiting your website. Well, if you'd like to help support the channel, we do have affiliates. Today we are highlighting Mint Mobile. Mint Mobile is going to work for you pretty much everywhere where you're at. It does use T-Mobile towers. I say that as where I'm at right now. None of my phones are working. But with the Mint Mobile, tlm.li/mm, you can use a variety of different plans. Let's see, where are the plans? There you go. So 4 gigabytes a month, $15 per month. And the more you buy up front, the cheaper it gets. You get, this is the 3 months of service, is $45. You go out a whole year, it's even cheaper than that. Then they go up to the $30 a month for unlimited, which is 35 gigabytes of 5G or 4G LTE data. And what I like about these guys most is their hotspots are still unlimited to their plan. So it's not an unlimited hotspot, but they don't meter you down unless you reach that 4 gigabyte data. So have a look over at Mint Mobile if you're paying way too much on your cell phone bill. Now let's head on over to security news. So first up in security news, because it's tax time, we had to include this one. Cyber criminals are launching a phishing campaign against Intuit users. So, of course, with Intuit and TurboTax on the rise, people have been tying into that. So people are getting some email notifications. They look like this. Critical action required, has some random number. Intuit user, we have temporarily disabled your account due to inactivity. It is compulsory to restore your account access within the next 24 hours as well as a security upgrade on the server and database, fight against vulnerabilities. please visit this website here to access now. And I bet if you hover over that, it's going to not actually be that link. So just be aware of phishing scams surrounding by Intuit, or hey, if you're like me, switch to GNU Cash and hire an accountant. A radio station snafu bricked Mazda infotainment systems. If you're in Seattle listening to the radio, avoid NPR. Basically, if you go to NPR, what they did is they delivered an image without an extension, and it bricked the infotainment systems, and now you cannot tune your radio away from it. Of course, because of the supply chain issues, you cannot get parts, and these things are defined so bad that you can't fix them. You have to replace the entire module. So that's exciting, and I wonder who's paying for that. Now, some people said in here that Mazda's going to pay for it, but I can only imagine that they're not going to be all that excited to do it, unless it's only a few cars. I mean, how many Mazdas could be in Seattle that haven't had their radio stolen yet? I gotta say the number's going to be small. But anyway, be careful if you are over there in Seattle with a Mazda listening to NPR. It may break your infotainment center. There you go. Well, after lying low in SSH botnet mushrooms, and it's even harder than ever to take down. This is the FritzFrog. It goes on a jumping spree. And as FritzFrog works, mostly I couldn't find anything about this other than the fact that it is a Monero miner. But it is an SSH worm, which means that it's going to worm its way through. And if you have an SSH server exposed on the internet, it's going to infect itself. The good side is it generally only infects itself if it is a beefy computer. So it actually checks system specs before installing its malware. And if you're like a Raspberry Pi or some low-end consumer machine, it's like, hell with that. And it just kills itself. But if you're running an enterprise type system, it's going to install itself over there and do all sorts of fun stuff on your server, mostly dealing with mining Monero. So there you go. There's a lot of fun stuff about that, and this is actually the spike. So this is it from the chart here is December 12, first seen. Bonk! Apparently, if FritzFrog has reached critical mass, it's time for us to go and have some frog legs. All right, so the FBI notices a sharp increase in SIM swapping attacks, leading to over $68 million in damages to U.S. citizens. So the SIM swapping is on the rise because, guess what? That's how you steal people's account access. This is why you never, ever, ever, ever use your cell phone and a phone number to do a two-factor authentication. When everyone's like, here's your phone number, be like, screw you. Why are you making my account insecure? Bart. Yes, you are. Shut up. Sit down in that little chair there until you learn a little bit about computer security, you moron. But yeah, so basically they had between January 2018 and December 20th, there were 320 such complaints. Led to losses in the 12 million. However, just in 2021 alone, it rose to 68 million, following 1,611 SIM swapping accounts. So, yeah, they figured out that everyone's forcing you to use two-factor authentication with your cell phone, and so everyone's like, hey, this is the best place. Because, of course, if you've stolen somebody's cell phone and you're like, this isn't my account, whoever controls that cell phone gets automatic default pure access. That's a problem. This is why you use hardware keys instead. All these people going, Google's trying to get your phone numbers. You have to do two-factor authentication. No, you don't. Guys, I run several YouTube channels. You do not have to give them a phone number. They accept security keys. They default to asking for your phone number. You got to click the button that says, what are other options? And then you get yourself a YubiKey and you plug it in and you use that. And you should be using that for everything that you can. So anyway, just be careful with that. You can help support the channel over on Patreon, patreon.com/TOMM, patreon.com. So thanks for watching, and we will see you next time. Thank you for watching this video from Switched to Linux. This channel would not be possible without the backing of the program supporters scrolling on the screen now. You can be a supporter at Patreon at patreon.com/TOMM or at thinklifemedia.com. I also want to thank the open source community who creates such excellent software, that makes producing this show possible. Please remember to support your software communities. Thank you, and I hope that you enjoy switching to Linux.